Hi, so this video is put together in order to provide you with a brief description about the practice of KAP and discuss a couple topics around it. So first of all, my name is Eugenia, certified KAP facilitator, and I'm greeting you from San Diego, California. I am originally from Costa Rica. Pura vida. Okay, so first of all, the word kundalini. So what the word means is really life force energy. Is the primordial life force. That's what kundalini is. If we want to go to the Sanskrit term of the word, it will mean chi who is coil. What this means is a female energy, basically, that is at the base of the human body. And then there are many methods to reach the kundalini energy. And we can talk about or put it in four big areas. So the first one will be devotional practices. And here we can talk about prayer and meditation. Then the next one will be energetic practice, which will you might find familiar, like Tai Chi, Qigong, tantric practices, yoga itself as well, kundalini yoga definitely. And then next will be the transmission. So this transmission is when basically you will have an encounter with another person who can transmit the energy into your system. So that will be the next method that we are discussing. And then of course now is becoming more and more prevalent, or people is at least more willing to open about it, is just sudden awakening. So what we call spontaneous awakening of the kundalini, which could be quite disturbing for people if they don't have the correct or the proper environment to work around the awakening. Okay, so now we will go a little bit more in depth into each of these ones. So first of all, let's discuss about the energetic practices. So once again, yoga, Tai Chi, and many others. So all of them will have one item in common. And this will be the fact that it's a self-generating practice, meaning the person will be the person practicing or trying to achieve kundalini through these practices will be quite involved into the experience, in the sense that it will require a lot of inner work, in order to achieve something. And basically it's a self-generating practice that will be moving the energy upwards, meaning going from your root chakra upwards. And then you need to do it yourself. You will need to make the energy move. And now the problem, we can label it a problem, but the challenge, that's a better word. The challenge will be when we encounter blockages. And as you know, in the day and time that we are living right now, many of us are quite influenced by many patterns, paradigms around our personal development, from finances to other points of reference as social circumstances and so on. So definitely many circumstances are perpetuating many of the blockages that can be within our systems. And when you are attempting to bring this energy upwards, you might find yourself many blockages are along the way that do not allow for the complete flow or the completion of the process, which aim, of course, to touching divinity on as the ultimate goal of these practices. So that will be the challenge. Now, something to mention is that I am just highlighting these practices as a frame of reference in order to discuss the topic of KAP. With none of these practices, I want to say that they are no good I actually practice some of them myself, and all of them do something in my personal and spiritual path, and definitely I treasure them. But I just want to create a frame of reference to be able to explain the KAP experience. So the next what would be the next method that we want to discuss will be then the devotional practices. And here we were talking about meditation and then as well as prayer. And then at this instant, I would like to use a different description of the kundalini that is coming from a little bit of a controversial character, but I think the description that he offers is quite valid. And this is Dr. David Franley. And basically what he says is that kundalini is the concentrated energy of our awareness or our consciousness. And then from the learnings of Dr. Joe Dispenza, I would like to bring to the table the concept that where we put our attention, we put our energy. And then if we merge these two concepts, we get to a point where we realize that through these methods is quite challenging to be able to get to this ultimate goal of touching divinity, because it does require a lot from the participant. The participant will have to go into deep levels of focus, deep levels of awareness, in order to be able to connect with divinity. And as we know, the challenge here is that we are living in a world of technology that is training our brain day by day to be subject to technology, and all the multiple apps that we have in our phones is difficult to live without, and to some extent, because we use them to communicate, but it's also training our brain to be more addicted and also to have a smaller range of attention. So involving ourselves in practice like the ones that I just described do represent a challenge, an extra challenge for us in our day and time, because we do have to work a lot in order to have this focus and this attention to the point of bringing us towards the goal. So the problem, in summary, is they do require discipline. They are not impossible, but they do require discipline. So the next method we will discuss will be the transmission method. And then here, we might, depending the culture we are coming from or we are using as a reference, we will have different terminology for it. So for example, in China, this is called a Qi activation. In Zen Buddhism, this is called a Dharma activation. In New Age technology, it is probably called light code activation. And then the classic one in India is called Shaktipat. Now we will compare a little bit the transmission method, which is the category where KAP falls into, in regards of what we just discussed, specifically about the energetic practices. So we were talking earlier how the energetic practices have one denominator in common, is the fact that it's a self-generating process. And then the devotional practices will have this requirement of discipline, right? Now, with the transmission practice, and specifically KAP, which stands for Kundalini activation process, the main differential factor is that the participant doesn't have to do something by themselves. Because it's a transmission, the participant will only have one requirement. And sometimes it's not that easy, but the one requirement will be surrender. So the greater the capacity of surrender that the participant will be able to achieve during a KAP session, the greater their level of receptivity towards the energy. The main differentiator in the process of KAP is the fact that the energy will come in a descending way. So it will penetrate your system through the crown in a descending form towards the root chakra. And in this way, it will be a much smoother process for your system, because when the energy is descending, doesn't have to deal that much with our major blockages. In most people, the big detriment in regards of energetic blockages is in the first three chakras or first three energy centers, where we repress most of our traumas and circumstances throughout life. So when the energy during the methodology of KAP is accessing your system, it can do it in a much smoother way. And then eventually, when the transmit energy is traveling, eventually it can touch the energy at the base of your root chakra and then merge with it. And if that's the case, then it can work as a loop, rearranging your whole energy body, energy systems. That being said, the energy or the practice of KAP, even though it might look quite raw on the videos, is simultaneously a very gentle practice, because we are working with that intelligent force of nature. We are working with pure love. So it will meet the participant only to the extent where the participant can meet, depending on your own level, on your own pace. It's an energy that, because it's supreme intelligence, it will not give you more of what you need, it will not give you less. It will meet you exactly where it is required to be. So that's the general overview around KAP. Then I will share with you a little bit of the logistics of a KAP session, either if it is in person or if it is virtual. So the session will usually last for around 2 hours generally, and then is very, very easy for the participant, who will be required to just lay down on the floor. In case of the virtual session, sometimes people ask if they can lay on the bed. My personal suggestion is lay on the floor, because since the practitioner is not there to take care of you, if you are on the couch and you are very reactive to the energy and you ended up moving a lot, I cannot guarantee that you are not just gonna fall off your bed or fell off the couch and injured yourself. So my personal suggestion is the floor. Just bring a yoga mat or some sort of cushion that you can just place on the floor and be comfortable for 1 hour, because you will be laying on the floor for about 1 hour. And then the participant, through intention, if it is virtually, or through touch, will be working on your meridian points, will be working on your chakra points, allowing the energy to work through your system. The practitioner doesn't necessarily need to know any previous illnesses or previous issues, personal issues, because the participant is not deciding where to direct the energy. Basically, the energy has its own intelligence, and the energy decides where to go. So that's very important to highlight. And then also one important item is we will ask that the participant will have the eyes closed throughout the experience. This will be for 2 reasons. First, because by closing your eyes, you are shutting down one less sensorial input receiver. So that allows you to go inwards into the experience. And then you will be just listening to music for about an hour, and then afterwards we will be calling everybody onto a screen or onto a circle if it's in person, and then we will open the floor for sharing and discussion. And sometimes this is very helpful because for new participants, sometimes it opens their mind to where the experience of KAP can take them. And for recurrent participants, it allows them time to integrate, to revise what just happened for them, and then maybe get a different perspective than their own into how to apply these concepts into their life. And next, what we will do is a demonstration of what can happen on KAP session. While we are watching, I just will kindly ask you to please keep bring to this space, to this energetic space that we are creating together, your heart and love to it, since she has the willingness to demonstrate how the experience works. Perfect. So let's go on that. Thank you. Experience. In this case, I will have lovely Charlotte assisting me from Denmark. She is recurrent client of mine, and she has received multiple transmission. Aside from that, she is a very sensitive person to the energy. She has many of her own practices, and she's also a yoga instructor among other qualifications. So definitely she's not new to energy, and what you will see in the demonstration doesn't mean that it will be your experience. It just means that it's a way for us to give you an opportunity to visually review what the KAP experience might bring for you. The KAP, as the name stands, is a process. It's kundalini activation process. So what happens in the first session is not necessarily what will happen later. Even in between sessions, recurrent participants sometimes have opposite experiences. So it's something to keep in mind. Thank you so much for our beautiful Charlotte and her demonstration of KAP. And then now we will continue with the questions and answer. Before getting into that, I just want to highlight the fact that I am coming from a school of practice, meaning I'm not coming from the school of teaching. This practice was given to me by my master, Ben Won, literally as a gift, meaning it's a skill that was gifted to me. And then Benan, during his upbringing, discovered that he was able to affect the energetic body of people. And then he eventually also learn how to give or to transfer this skill into others. So I'm very privileged and blessed to call myself one of these energetic vehicles. Why do we use this terminology, energy vehicle? Because here the facilitator is allowing herself or himself to function as a vehicle for the energy, meaning that during the transmission, we are not involving ourselves into your experience. The energy, the activation is coming directly from the universe, if you will, or the cosmos. We are being directed towards working in a specific area or section of your body, but it's not by my will, and it's not what I am deciding to do. It's just a guidance. In the same way, I am not giving you my energy. What I'm doing is just functioning as a vehicle for that energy to be able to access your energetic body. So that's how it works. Simultaneously, because this is a skill that was given to me, I also have to say that I'm not coming from the wisdom tradition. Like, for example, people that go into a cave or under a tutelage of a master and study the Vedic scriptures for a lifetime, and maybe that's how they dedicate their life. In this case, this is a little different, or a lot different, because it's something that is coming from a practical standpoint. I am definitely more than open, and I will do my best to answer all your questions, but I just want to share with you and make you understand that this skill or faculty of working with the energy is coming from a practical point, from a knowledge-based point. Of course, in order to have the understanding of the practice, we did receive direct training from my master, but simultaneously, this doesn't mean that we are your guru, that we have answer to every single question related to kundalini. So in the chat box, after the beautiful demonstration from Sweet Charlotte, we have somebody asking if the movements that she had during the transmission, if those movements were her movements or just her body moving. So because during the KAP experience, part of the concept is that you are surrendering yourself, you are allowing your body to move in the way that the energy is directing your body to move. You are not moving yourself, basically. And also, you are able to stop the moving of your body at any given point, meaning that during the transmission, you are not into trance. You are fully capable to stop the experience at any time. Now, it is also true that once you feel it and you are connected to it, you don't want it to stop. You don't want to forcefully stop the clearing, if it is clearing, or the whichever process you are going through the experience. You want to be as willing to receive as much as possible, because once again, it's the intelligent energy of life or love, and you don't want that to stop, just because, believe me, it feels good. The next question on the chat refers to someone that is sharing with us that he does move quite similarly to what we just witnessed on the demonstration during his own practices. So something to mention is you don't need me, you don't need the facilitator to connect with this energy, meaning the energy of the universe, because as we know, we are empty space inside us. The smallest fraction of our composition is 0.9999, like Dr. Jose says, empty space, and that empty space is energy. So we are already made of this energy, and if your body already react that way towards the energy, is because you already have your own strong connection to it. Now the facilitator, what the facilitator will be doing is basically holding a space, holding a space for whatever needs to unfold for you. The energy itself wouldn't be necessarily different to what you are experiencing, but by holding a space, and this might not be conscious, it could be subconscious, the facilitator could redirect, let's say, the energy to cleaning blockages that might be there that you might not be consciously aware. And once again, the facilitator doesn't have control of how the energy moves, but just the presence and a skill that was put into the facilitator may assist in the flow of the energy in a smoother, more beneficial way for you. But definitely you do not need the facilitator to be there for that. I will perceive as beneficial, but not necessarily a requirement. It is a beautiful experience. KAP is a beautiful experience to go through, and then just joining either group session or taking part into a private session might give you the chance to explore how the KAP practice can bring to your personal space.